Welcome to the OG. I'm Joe Giglio. Joe Ovius on sabbatical. He's getting in some hot band percussion action in Dayton, Ohio. Best of luck to the Enloe Marching Eagles or the Percussion Eagles, whatever they go by for this particular competition. Joe's not here. That means there's no O here. We got a double G, James Giglio. Hoist the Colours, 247 Sports. Also happens to be my oldest son. Also happens coming off a birthday.
Yeah.
Out of your teens.
Sunday. I know. Enter the 20s. Feel like a real adult now.
Last time the audience saw you, just a teenager.
Yeah. Such a big difference. 19
Full grown-ass man here at 20 years old. So congratulations to you. We're here today, of course, thanks to our friends at Empire Properties. We're here in the beautiful Eford Studios downtown. Got James's parking taken care of, but buddy, you picked a 1 hour time slot. We're going to record for more than an hour. You got to find those 2 hour slots, man.
I parked on the same spot last time.
We'll roll the dice a little bit. We'll see what happens there. We're good. Trying to move a little bit more quickly. Also, thanks to our corporate champion, Copiers Plus, copiers-plus.com. It's tax season. Got to get your taxes done. James, yes. I had to zap you a document. You had to sign it. We had to send it away. We did all those things thanks to the Kyocera, thanks to Copiers Plus. We were both at a baseball game last night. Yes. We saw NC State beat ECU for a rare win in Greenville. I don't think I've been to an NC State win in Greenville before. State wins 4-1. State had a emotional walk-off win on Sunday against Virginia. Big comeback. So you kind of figured they'd come into this one feeling a little bit pretty good about themselves. Yeah. And then ECU, of course, coming off of a home sweep, got swept by FAU. That hasn't happened in
2018.
2018. So it's rare that these things happen to ECU. You covered the game down in Campbell. That's the last time I saw ECU. Watch them again last night. They're now 20-14 on the season, 90th in the RPI. Yep. 0-4 against Duke, Carolina, and State so far, right?
Correct.
So they're in. They've made. Cliff Godwin's been the coach for 9 years. There's been an NCAA tournament for eight of those years. ECU's been in the tournament 7 of those 8 years. They missed in 2017. They are, as of right now, on track to miss the tournament for the first time since 2017.
Yeah, their at-large chances are pretty much non-existent right now. I mean, they keep losing these midweek games, like you said. Duke, UNC, State, 0-4. Swept by Carolina, start the year, and then lost at Duke, and then to State. Still have another crack at State in a couple of weeks. But, yeah, this team's been disappointing so far, and last night was definitely disappointing.
Yeah, they looked a lot like the Campbell game to me last night.
Yeah, the pitching
was good. Yep. The pitching was good enough to win. Defense, obviously, had the one error in the outfield, which was costly.
A couple of infield errors.
Booted a couple of balls, but mostly pitching was good. Hitting is light. The lineup was really light this year. And, I don't know. I know Cliff Godwin, but I don't know him the way that I know Elliott Avent, right? But it has been advanced to me by our friend Ronnie Woodward. They are kindred spirits, if you will. They are the way that Elliott feels about State and his love for State and baseball and all of those things is how Cliff feels about ECU and kind of how he approaches the game, and very similar cut from that mold,
personalities,
right?
I would say, yes.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree. So Cliff, after the game, I mentioned I haven't seen him lose to State in Greenville
in a long time.
I mean, the last time I think Tommy Tanks technically got them, but the last time I was there was the 2019 regional. Yeah, and they blistered State. Yeah, they had some ballers though, and
2019 was definitely a different team than this year.
We'll get to those teams, but Cliff, after the game last night, I'm actually going to go to your competition here. We got to give him a little love though. Pirate Radio TV had the post game here from last night, so let's play the clip from Cliff. And I think the question is about, are you frustrated, or is there more to this?
Disappointment or frustration after a loss like this?
All the above.
I think Colby Wallace is hitting the 8th. I mean, without that, I guess they faced the minimum after 3. Is that just like an approach, at the plate, or are they pitching well?
Like I said, Nance just overpowered us when we knew that he liked his fastball. That's his best pitch, and our guys didn't make any adjustments. I mean, look, no offense, our coaches can't go hit. I actually would have liked to go hit for some of our guys tonight, and I haven't picked up a bat in like 10 years. So, but we'll get better, because I promise you that we'll practice.
You talked about Sunday. You just didn't feel like some guys believed. Did feel like that belief was there tonight?
Nope, sure don't. And that's a tough pill to swallow, man. Told him to take pride in the jersey. Talked to Carter Cunningham last night for about an hour, and you know how much pride Carter Cunningham and Trey Savage. Or you gotta have pride in the jersey, man. You gotta have pride in East Carolina and in this daggone transactional, crappy world that we're in college athletics. You gotta have pride in the uni, man. Like I got a lot of pride in this uniform. I freaking wore it as a player. I've worn it for a coach for a long time, and we've got to get a lot of guys to buy into that.
So obviously you can hear his frustration there.
Yes.
And listen, he is a prideful guy, but the crappy transactional world, isn't that kind of part of ECU's problem? They've been slow to adopt to the NIL / now we're here getting close to this revenue sharing era.
Yeah, Cliff has been very I wouldn't say like fully against, but he's been very tough adjusting to the new times, I would say. He kind of reminds me of Dabo Sweeney, college football wise. You know, he wants to do it the old fashioned way, recruit guys out of high school, get them to stay all 4 years. Reality of the situation is that's just not how it is anymore. You got to be able to go out and get guys in the portal, focus less on high school recruits, because established talent these days is better than developing talent. And right now, ECU has a lot of developing talent and not of a lot of established talent. And I think that's kind of their main issue right now.
So they did lose one player in the portal. And, you know, the left fielder, they lost the freshman kid from last year to Auburn.
Bristol Carter, yeah.
Yeah. And when you lose those type of players, that's when you start feeling it a little bit. You know, I know they still have the kid who's playing. He played second base last night. I'm not sure why he got moved from third. The local kid.
Dixon Williams, yeah.
Dixon Williams got, and I was like.
And he hasn't been great this year.
Has not.
No.
But when I look at physically, when I look at ECU, I look at Dixon Williams and go, okay, that looks more in line of what I expect an ECU team to look like. And I did mention that the pitching was pretty good yesterday. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, most of the NIL money that was used went on the pitching side, right?
Yeah, because last year the bullpen was not very good. So that's what most of it went to this year was the pitching staff.
I think the biggest problem for ECU is I'm walking in the building and they have a really beautiful mural up on the side of the ticket office there, and it's of 3 guys, Burleson, Williams, and Norby in the majors.
Yeah,
I mentioned that 2019 team. You know, there's some of these other teams too. The heartbreaking team that had lost to Texas in the super regional. They had those guys, man. They had dudes.
Even last year they had dudes.
Yeah, but they had injuries last year, right? Yeah. I mean, you can. Savage was
great. He's a pro. Carter Cunningham, Jacob Jenkins Coward. I think those guys are pros, but those guys were older guys. They've been here for a while. But yeah, they don't have any of those guys this year. Nobody liked that this year.
So it's a little bit of a culture gap. It's a talent gap and a culture gap because you have to retain the players. You can't lose. You know, the thing about those Burleson in particular and Williams, you know, those were guys. You saw their development. You saw their arc. You saw them get to the point where they were, I believe both of them were first-round picks. That's a credit to Cliff. But, you know, now you're losing a player to Auburn. State went through it with Tommy White. You know, it's kind of part of what college baseball is now. As he said, the crappy transactional part of college baseball. What is, I was surprised too, you know, last night, the game was a sellout.
Yeah.
So full transparency, I had to hit Elliott up for tickets for the game. And I got there and I was expecting, you know, the full-throated fever pitch and the jungle was stacked, you know. Please don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm not suggesting that there weren't fans there. But the stands themselves, I was surprised.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how it was last year. They said the game was sold out, and that's kind of how it is. People will buy the tickets and then they'll either, I mean, I don't know what they do. I think they either resell them or just don't show up. But ticket-wise, the game was technically sold out. And I actually was talking with Steven, and Steven was like, yeah, I mean, we're not expecting, I mean, the back stands are going to be completely full because that's just kind of how it is. People will just either not show up or I don't really know how it works. But the jungle was packed. I could see it. And the stands were fairly full. I mean, I'm not.
No, there was a good crowd there, but it wasn't. A good crowd. You know, it wasn't.
It was not technically sold out. I guess is what it wasn't like shoulder to shoulder. I guess what you're saying.
But you remember Alec Makaravich coming back last year to Greenville.
That game
and the response and where the fans were and you know what I mean?
Yeah, there was definitely more hype, I would say, going into that game because both teams were ranked last year. And obviously AMAC coming back. So I mean, like I said, even not a lot of buzz coming into the game yesterday. I even was talking to somebody about that. I think I was talking to Jackson or Reynolds actually about that. I was like, not as much buzz as last year. Both teams aren't ranked. ECU's struggling. But yeah, I mean, crowd wise, I mean, it was still a solid crowd, I would say.
Okay. You bring up an excellent point about ECU's at large chances.
Mhm.
I think sometimes I have power conference brain. ECU can still win the American Athletic.
They can. Yeah.
They're 6-3 in the league. They're a game behind the leaders, UTSA and South Florida. So let's not, throw the season away for ECU just yet. Just because they won't get there in a traditional route doesn't mean they still can't get there.
Yeah. I mean, they're going to have to win the conference tournament. And their 2 series wins, I believe, this season against Rice and Memphis.
Oh, now they're both in last place.
Both are the 2 worst teams in the American Conference. So they played a quality opponent in FAU, got swept. I mean, they lost the first game 5-6, and then they got absolutely blown out in the first run rule. Actually, I believe ever for ECU at home, lost 14-1. Game was over in 7 innings. They got Charlotte coming up this weekend. They're actually not bad this year. And some of the teams in the American have developed nicely. Charlotte's not that bad. I believe UAB is actually kind of solid. And then at the end of the year, South Florida on the road. I don't think they're bad at all. But yeah, so I mean, the sample size from the conference right now is not very good because they played Memphis and Rice, who are the 2 worst teams in the conference.
Bring up an interesting comp to Dabo Sweeney and how Dabo has been slow or maybe stubborn in the modern college landscape. Do you think Cliff has it in him to adjust and change with the times and to keep ECU where it probably needs to be? I think I know there are people out there who don't like it when I rep for ECU, but I think everything's better when ECU baseball is at its best.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think he definitely can come to the times. Maybe, this season will show him that, I can't just recruit high school players and hope to develop them because the fans will get restless. I mean, it's a day and age where there's no such thing as a rebuilding year anymore. I definitely can see him coming to the times, and I think this year could be a good wake-up call for him and the program to say, we got to this year was unacceptable. We got to go out. And like you said, though, this year's not a lost year. They could still win the conference tournament. But I mean, if the season goes how it's been going so far, I think it'll be I think this is a real wake-up call for the offseason. I think they're going to go out and get some players.
Housekeeping. All right, housekeeping brought to you by Inovana Green Cleaning Solutions. I'm sure they're at Ovius's house right now as we speak. They always are, but they always have time for you as well. We have a hockey happy hour coming up. It will be Tuesday, April 15th. We will be at Crank Arm in downtown Raleigh. We'll be joined by Sarah Sivian. Sarah Sivian covered the Canes for The Athletic, has her own Substack now. Great personality. We enjoy all of our hockey takes with Sarah. That'll be a 5:00 start. Crank Arm Brewing, downtown hockey happy hour with the Civ. The OG birthday's coming up as well. We turn 2. May 1st, we will be at Shady's in downtown Garner. Thursday night, 6 p. Yes, downtown Garner. The G, the home of all good things. Shady's obviously is from our friend Josh Whitaker and Hamer. For all of your law needs, check them out. It's wh.lawyer. And if you look in the comments below, you will see a link to our new OG shirts. It is the OG Golf Classic. They are green and yellow, James. It's a total coincidence
Masters
that the week of some tournament down in Augusta, we are selling green and gold shirts that have the OG Golf Classic logo. And if you need great golf gear, there's really only one place to go. Rhoback.com, RHO back.com. Rhoback. You don't know me like that. You can get your peaches, your azalea collection, conveniently timed right now for the Masters. Rhoback.com, OG20 will save you 20% on your first order. And then maybe you're like James, you make a run from Greenville to Raleigh and then back from Raleigh to Greenville, and you see a lot of billboards, or maybe you're like, you know what? I'd really like to buy something either in Raleigh or Greenville. Well, our friends at Hometown Realty can help you with just that. Hometown Realty, you buy and sell with confidence. It's myhtr.com. Big thanks to Barry and his crew at Hometown Realty. Joining us now on the Heister Automotive Group hotline. I don't know if you know this, James. Yes, you do, because you bought your car from the Heister Automotive Group. You can buy your car, You can sell your car to them. You can also get your car inspected. They got everything. Check them out, HeisterAuto.com. We talked about how ECU lost last night. Well, the other side of that was NC State won. And now joining us is Wolfpack head coach Elliott Avent. Elliott, how are you doing, sir? 4-1. I was saying earlier on this program, I can't remember the last time I saw you guys win in Greenville. So you got to be feeling at least pretty good about leaving a spot that usually gives you some problems with a win last night.
East Carolina gives you problems no matter where you play them. They're always a good ball club and great tradition there. They put a lot into that sport at East Carolina. It's a big deal to their university and their athletic department, and they're a great ball club. So very fortunate to win last night.
Now, you guys on Sunday have one of those emotional type of wins, a comeback, a walk-off. You know, you're kind of pulling one from the fire. You've been at NC State now since 97. So you've had series and games like that before that have sparked the team. Do you think that kind of win against Virginia, going back to Sunday's big comeback, is one that can maybe get this group going for you?
Well, when you look back at other seasons that ended up where you want your team to end up, there's usually a series or a game, usually a series that kind of people point to, like that might have been the weekend that gave them the confidence to understand who they are, who they can be. And players need that. And like I said, this is an extremely young club, an inexperienced club, new players, getting to learn one another, trying to figure out how to play in the ACC, trying to figure out how to play our non-conference schedule, 4 games a week, 3 on a weekend, and it's tough. And so I think every win you get, Joe, every win you get, and like you alluded to, a game that we were down 8-2, down to our last out, down 2 runs, get a hit, a walk, and a home run to pull it out. That adds to their confidence, and it's all a growing process in college.
It's fast forward, Hogue hits the walk-off, then he hits a home run in the first inning last night. That's why it's sometimes even stupid sports writers like me can connect those dots. But one thing I liked about yesterday in particular was Duden. Gosh, he was so great for you last season as a freshman. And sometimes you think life comes super easy to you when that happens when you're a freshman. And obviously he struggled in the first part of this season. And he's even in what I like to call Elliott jail right now. But I think he's working his way out of Elliott jail if he pitches like he did last night.
Well, there is no jail cell here. It's just, you play good, you play good, you play. And if you play with confidence and believe in who you are, you play even when things aren't going bad. But anyway, and a lot of times when people have the success that Jacob had last year, sometimes when it doesn't work out following that, it's to a lack of a work ethic. They think they're there. They think it's easy, right? And that's not the case with Jacob. He worked extremely hard in the offseason and the fall. And so this game is just it's difficult. It's very unforgiving. And sometimes this game can get in your head a little bit and make things more difficult than it already is. And I think that's what happened to Jacob. But he's throwing good, pitched a great ninth inning at a tough place to pitch and play and against a good ball club.
We're going to get to some bigger picture questions here that James has for you about college baseball. But I did want to ask you, I went over to the Duke series. I watched all of those games. And I like to tell James, sometimes I don't want to know the background story. Sometimes I just like looking at players and see what they look like. The second baseman for ECU is one of those kids. I'm like, okay, I don't know anything about this kid, but he's a player, right? I'm watching Ty Head over in Durham, and I go, ooh. Without knowing anything until right now, I said to James and I said to my wife, I said, I bet you that's a Chris Hart special. And sure enough, Ty Head from Florida has got to be a Chris Hart special.
He's had a lot of Chris Hart specials, and he's had a lot from his home state of Florida. Trey Turner was probably the biggest get out of Florida when he was an unknown. Ty Head wasn't an unknown. He was a highly recruited and a major league prospect. So getting him here at NC State was a big deal, and foregoing the draft. But yeah, he's a great player, and he plays with a lot of confidence and is doing special things as a rookie, which isn't always easy at this level.
Coach, changing gears here. Obviously, college baseball is growing rapidly, year by year. How would you say the recent House settlement will affect college baseball as a whole?
It's just going to affect the college world as a whole. I mean, as we know it, I mean, James, I've been in this game for over 40 years, and to see the changes, and sometimes the changes are good, like players being able to transfer. Like I remember Ron Polk, the great legendary baseball coach at Mississippi State. He and I had a 45-minute cab ride, and I don't know what year it was, but it was a year that we were talking about. It was a year they were going to take the transfer away in baseball and 3 other sports. And you could transfer in the rest of the sports, but there were 4 sports that wasn't allowed to transfer: basketball, baseball, and ice hockey and football. And it did make a lot of sense to Coach Polk, and he was one of the smartest men I ever knew in all of sports. And so we took that away for so many years. So to give it back where players can't transfer, it only made sense, as Coach Polk told me on that cab ride, 30 years ago. But then, as all things that do one extreme, they seem to go to a big extreme the other way. It seems like things don't ever stay in the middle. And the middle is where we know everything should be. And extremes are not good for sports. They're not good for baseball. They're not good for the country. And it seems like the world tries to stay in those extremes, and that's where we're at in college sports right now. So how's it going to affect us, James? It's going to affect all of college sports. I just hope it doesn't ruin college sports.
You think it'll be good, though, for baseball, E?
No,
revenue sharing in particular?
No, I do not.
Why is that?
Oh, there's many reasons. I mean, it's when you talk about, first of all, baseball's always been the short end of the stick. 11.7 scholarships for 35 to 40 players. And it's one of the biggest revenue generating sports when you get to postseason. And it's just always been treated very unfairly. And, but at least it was an even playing field. Everybody had 11.7, unless there was, some schools with great financial aid and packages they could put together. So at least you're playing on somewhat of an even field. And I think that field is as the money that generated all these great stadiums throughout the country that created an uneven balance in college baseball. Now this is going to more so create an uneven balance in it. So it can't be good. No.
How about, I know it's different from the House settlement, but the expanded roster size, that feels like something that could potentially be good.
What do you mean the expanded? Actually, it's going to shrink, right?
Well, I meant, you mentioned the 11.7 with the scholarships, excuse me. That
right.
Now
you can give it to whoever you want to. That's the way it always should have been. I mean, why could you only give it to, 11.7 scholarships, and you could only give to 27 players, yet you have 40. So you're telling 13 players they can't get any money or assistance. So the way they've done this whole thing through the years, they're going to pay, and that's what you do. If you do things that are wrong for so often, then it goes to the extremes of how you're going to be punished, and that's what's going to happen right now. But the roster is going to shrink to 34. There's still some unknown about how the roster is going to start in the fall and when you got to get to the 34, possibly December 1st, and how you get there and who counts. And there's so much unknown right now. But no, this whole thing is going to. I hope it doesn't hurt baseball as much as I think it's going to hurt college sports and overall.
Okay, well, you surprised me today. We've been friends for a long time. I did not know the answer to that. But let's get out of here on this. I tried. James has been covering ECU baseball now for 2 years. So he has a pretty good understanding of Keith LeClaire and what he was able to do at ECU and the way that he fought till the end against ALS. Last night, to see ECU in their 23s and then to see the Wolfpack Red in their 26, even in those 97 jerseys that so many people will remember fondly. Can you explain to James in so many words, if you can, who Chris Combs was and why he still remains so important to you?
James, I've had so many special players, and I never use the term best with anything. Who's your best player, favorite player? Actually, one of my favorite players of all time, and maybe it's hard to say he wasn't, is Jonathan Diaz. Was at the ballpark for a couple of days last week when he was in town seeing the Durham Bulls and his line of work. But Chris Combs, when I got here, he was a senior on a great ball club that Coach Tanner put together. And Chris Combs, his family is synonymous with NC State. His dad, Francis Combs, his uncle, Freddie Combs, his godfather, Frank Whedon, who was Mr. NC State forever as an associate AD and sports information director. But he loved NC State as I loved NC State. So when I got here and met Chris Combs and saw his love affair with NC State, which I shared with him. And I remember one time, James, we used to have a little shed by first base where the grounds crew would sit and get the field ready. And they had a little small TV in there. And during the ACC basketball tournament, Chris Combs was playing right field. And we're back when the ACC basketball tournament was so special and everybody wanted to watch every game. Chris looked at me because he had batted the last inning, so he wasn't going to be up. He looked at me coming from right field and pointed to the shed like, "Coach, can I go in there and check the score out of the game?" And he would go in there and see how we were doing because we were playing at the same time. And he'd come in and whisper in my ear, "Coach, we're up by 6." But it's just that guy, he was synonymous with what NC State is, what it's always been, and how our fans have a love affair with this school and our athletic programs. And he will always be so special to me for many, many reasons. Great player among many things. And it's why his jersey is honored. There are 2 jerseys out there honored on the right field wall. Chris Combs is one of them. The other's obviously the godfather of NC State athletics, Coach Esposito. And hopefully we're going to add some more names to that wall in the coming year.
Yeah, we're missing 2 names there, man.
Huh?
I said we're missing 2 big ones.
We're missing more than that.
All right, well, you got Louisville this week. Enjoy. No, Louisville was the snake week, so no snakes this week. Let's keep the dog away too, please.
It is Copperhead season. Somebody sent me that the other day.
Yeah, please be careful and take care. And we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
James, it's good seeing you.
Raleigh. Yeah.
James, good seeing you. Thanks for helping Daddy out. Remember, he always needs it. He always needs it. James, good seeing you.
All right, Coach. Appreciate you. Good luck this week and good luck the rest of the way. We'll see you over at the Doak in 2 weeks.
Thank you, Joe. Bye-bye.
Always good to catch up with Coach. Saw him last night, Greenville, briefly. Tried to get him up here today.
Yeah.
He was like, can't I just do it on the phone? I was like,
digital world.
I'll send you the link. So yeah, they ECU State be back in Raleigh in 2 weeks. So Steve Young will get his chance to talk some trash to you again. You'll get a chance to talk some trash to him. You can get rid of the bugs though in the interim. Bugsbite.com, our friend Hayes Lancaster, the OG, Mosquito Authority, Pest Authority. They got a deal going on right now in April. It's $29 for your first service treatment. I know what you might be thinking, Joe, man, come on. Oh, Hayes has been with you for 2 years. I've first time service treatment. I've been using Mosquito Authority forever. Well, if you tell them that you heard about this ad in April, they will honor that price. $29 for your first treatment. So go check them out. It is Bugsbite. housekeeping.com. Right now, you are a big fan of the long leaf swine.
Oh yeah, I love the long leaf swine.
The
Mac and cheese,
Mac and cheese is one of
good.
your favorites. The smash burger,
The banana pudding, I believe it is.
the banana pudding,
Very good.
as well. They got great deals going on, and not just every day for lunch, but also for the Masters. Let me pull this up from Adam, because Adam's got a deal this week. You can get some catering. You can watch the Masters in the comfort of your own home with, you ready for this? The Masters Party Pack. It's $80 for 4 people. 1 pound of barbecue, 1 pint of coleslaw, 1 pint of pimento cheese, 1 bag of pork rinds, 1 pint of oyster crackers, 4 Union Special potato buns, 4 banana pudding ice cream sandwiches. What?
Right.
What? What? And then 1 gallon of Arnold Palmer, a mix of tea and lemonade. So our friends at the Long Leaf Swine doing it up big for the Masters. Check them out and order online at longleafswine.com. Sometimes in this business, James, you have to zig when others zag. So before the Final Four, there was a lot of talk, even amongst former players like Carmelo Anthony, about where does Cooper Flagg rank? Where will he rank of best freshmen if they win the title? Well, Flagg misses a shot at the end of the Houston game. Duke loses, collapses at the end. It was not Cooper Flagg's fault. He had 27 points. But that conversation has seemed to disappeared. But it got me thinking, who are the best freshmen in the last 10 years? And I want to use 10 years, because you're 20 and you'll remember some of these guys. That's number 1. Number 2, it also goes back. So here's where we're going to start. In 2015, Duke won the NCAA tournament. Not only were they a freshman dominated team that won the championship, but remember, Kentucky was unbeaten that year up until the Final Four. They were a freshman dominant team, freshman dominant lineup. So there has not been a national champion since 2015 that was led by freshmen. Okay. So we don't have to get into the silly argument of, well, so-and-so's better because they won a title, right? Now we can just judge the players for who they were and how they were in their lone season in college basketball. So Joe Ovius used to do a segment called the Top 4 at 4. It's only noon, but let's do the top 4 at noon. Top 4 freshmen starting in 2016 through this season. So I've got 4, you've got 4. They can overlap. Let's start with your number 4.
My number 4, I have Chet Holmgren. Kind of forgotten. I mean, these Gonzaga teams kind of blend together. But he was on that 2022 Gonzaga team, the number 1 seed. They were the number 1 overall seed. Ended up losing to Arkansas, I believe, in the Sweet 16, I believe.
They did. They were a number 1 seed. They lost to Musselman.
Yes.
Ugh. They were the 1 seed. Arkansas ended up losing to Duke, and Duke ends up going on to the Final Four that year. I like Chet. I think Chet was a little bit of obviously more of a true 5 than Cooper Flagg. Flagg's more of a 4, but Chet had more of those ball skills. He could shoot. Obviously, I think Chet's a better shooter than Cooper Flagg, numbers wise. More rebounds, fewer points, more blocks, fewer assists, obviously, but still,
he's got some accolades. He was a All-American, second team All-American, but all these West Coast Conference accolades, which isn't really saying much. But I mean, honestly, he was my pick. Kind of watching him play. That Gonzaga team was really dominant. He got them at the number 1 overall seed.
I also wanted to go Gonzaga because my affinity for the Zags. I had to set them free though after picking them for like 6 straight years to win the championship. My Zags choice would have been Jalen Suggs, but his numbers weren't as good as I thought they were. So instead, my number 4 is a little bit of a curveball.
I'm excited.
And that is Kobe White for North Carolina, overshadowed that year by the other freshman and perhaps the player number 1 on our list. But Kobe White in his single season at Carolina, I would argue the last true point guard, the last true Roy Williams point guard. And until Hubert Davis produces one of those, right now he is the last in the lineage of Felton and Lawson and Kenny Smith and Phil Ford and just all of Kendall Marshall, all of the outstanding guards who drove those outstanding title Carolina teams that everyone in this state has known and loved. And Kobe White really was there to he did not come into Carolina thinking he'd be one and done, and really had an outstanding, played with a speed. My gosh.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing that most people remember for Kobe White in his single season in 2019 at Carolina. So that's my number 4. Your number 3.
My number 3, I don't know if this guy's on your list. I think he might be. You did mention him earlier. Trae Young.
Okay.
Trae Young is my number 3, one and done, and I have a specific reason.
Okay.
The impact he had, the Oklahoma team, if you look back at the 2018 Oklahoma team and all their metrics and whatever, they should not have been a tournament team. They solely got put in the tournament so Trae Young could be on TV. That is the sole reason. They lost in the first round of Rhode Island. Trae Young, though, I mean, he was All-American, scoring champion, the assist leader, first team All Big 12, freshman of the year. I mean, he had the accolades, and he was put in the tournament so like people could watch him. And that Oklahoma team was not good at all.
How about this for a forgotten piece of history? First of all, Trae Young, 27.4 points per game, 8.7 assists per game. That's ridiculous. He's actually my number 2.
Oh, really?
But you ready for this? I didn't even notice it until I scrolled down.
Mm-hmm.
On that team, speaking of Carolina greats, Brady Bannock was a freshman, averaged 10.2 points per game.
On that Oklahoma team.
And made 38% of his 3-point shots. So Trae Young, all right, we're in step. But my number 3 is actually Cooper Flagg.
Really?
I'm going Cooper Flagg. I think he had an outstanding season. I don't think he was he wasn't quite the player that some people wanted him to be. But I thought his effort was through the roof. I thought how he improved as the season went along was through the roof. I think his basketball IQ is through the roof. He's better defensively than he is offensively. I think that will be a thing. I think ultimately he becomes a Kevin Love type player in the NBA. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Did you have Cooper Flagg on your list?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So let's get to your number 2 then.
Number 2. I actually, and this can be a shocker, I have Zion Williamson at number 2.
What?
I have said it from the beginning. I think Cooper Flagg is a better basketball player than Zion Williamson. More complete. I think he's a better shooter. I think he's got similar athleticism. I'm not going to say not as close. I was similar. And his Duke team went farther in the tournament than Zion Williamson.
Wow.
I have Cooper Flagg at number. I'm not going to spoil, I guess.
Yeah, you have him at number 1.
I have number 1.
And Zion at number 2. I have them flipped in part because Zion was dominant. He was just dominant. And Cooper Flagg was more of a, to your point, he was this is almost like a, if you really want to get crazy here on a talk show, Cooper Flagg would be your LeBron James compared to Zion, the Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Right. Like Cooper Flagg does more things better than Zion Williamson. But to me, Zion Williamson was more of a dominant force in his lone season at Duke. I bring up Cooper Flagg too, because there are some people who argue, oh, you're in the bag to capture the flag. There was some sort of saying this year to
capture the flag.
Like you're tanking to get Cooper Flagg, which I think is somewhat of a, I don't want to say mistake, because I do think Cooper Flagg could be an important part of a championship team. As long as he's the 3rd best player on your team, I think you're going to be okay. Again, that Kevin Love type of style, great. He could be a great rebounder. He could be a little bit of a kick out type of guy who could develop over time into a better shooter. Obviously super high basketball IQ.
You don't think he's leading the Wizards or Nets to
no. I think those teams would be in a world of hurt. But I hadn't thought about the longer game here. So let's go to Bill Simmons. Obviously noted Celtics honk. And he is actually counting the days down and years down to Cooper Flagg getting to free agency in his second contract.
I'm counting on Kelly Flagg, who's a massive, gigantic Celtics fan.
Oh, yeah. She's got a plan.
Kyle, turn the TikTok camera on. I'm counting on Kelly Flagg to stick to her guns the
Mm-hmm.
Celtics, a team that she loves very, very much. We have never seen somebody come into the NBA draft and just play out their rookie contracts, pass up that, oh, I better take that one No, he loves the Celtics.
Mm-hmm.
5 years, just plays with whoever drafts him, jumps right to the Celtics by age 24. We're waiting for him. We're going to have the cap space ready. We got a new owner. Come home, Cooper. You don't even have an NBA team yet. Come home to Boston. We're waiting for you.
I can't wait till they tell Cooper Flagg about bird rights, and he's like, "Yeah, these are my bird rights. I'm going to the Celtics.
Bird rights.
Yeah, I'm the
the
bird."
right move is to be Larry Bird. But like,
I've heard of like the tanking before.
Yeah.
I've never heard of somebody 5 years out calling their shot like this.
recruiting pitch. No, I mean, honestly though, like if he's talking like local, because I mean he's from Maine. I mean, if Dan Hurley couldn't get him to go to UConn after winning 2 championships, I mean, what makes him think after 4 or 5 years in the NBA is going to just jump ship to the Celtics?
Well, maybe it's to your point about the apprenticeship, and maybe he views Washington or the Nets or whoever ends up winning the lottery as, well, this is really my college experience.
Yeah.
I'll do the 4 years, the 5 years here, and develop my skills, kind of like Anthony Davis with the Pellies.
He was
then
there a little longer.
Yeah, but something like that. I could see something like that happening because, as we've been told 9 million times, he is only 18 years old.
Yeah, just turned 18.
Just turned 18 in December. So, all right. Well, I'm glad we disagreed there a little bit.
Yeah. I also, another reason I didn't mention was that he was a year younger. So if he
You're
was
buying into
if he was Zion's age, I think. Who knows?
Oh man. Oh, don't try to trigger me on this program. I just all year of it was 17. It was for the first
December.
the first month of the season. Oh man, he's only 17. It's like, that's not how prodigies work. Like, you're developing ahead of the people your age. That's what makes you a prodigy. But it also doesn't mean at 18 you're going to be this, at 19 you're going to be this, at 20 you're going to be this. I suspect Cooper Flagg's game is what Cooper Flagg's game is going to be, save for I do believe his jumper will get better, because that's what the NBA is.
Yeah, it's all threes and
threes. I mean that he's going to have no choice but to become a better shooter, and I think he will. Like I said, Kevin Love's a Hall of Famer. Is he not?
Borderline, but yeah,
I think Kevin Love's a Hall of Famer. If Carmelo Anthony's in the Hall of Fame, Kevin Love's going to be in the Hall of Fame.
Carmelo Anthony probably had a better career than Kevin Love.
Well, we got to remember now, in basketball, your college career counts.
Oh, true. Yeah, but Kevin Love,
because Carmelo was part of that.
Yeah.
So I think Kevin Love at UCLA, you get credit for some of that too. Not to mention, before your time, when Kevin Love was with Minnesota, he was putting up numbers off the charts.
Yeah, I guess
with the pups.
I guess he's probably gonna make the Hall of Fame. He'll probably find his way in.
Okay, but also the third best player on an NBA title team.
Yeah. That I see your point.
Okay, I'm just glad that you're with me on this one. Big thanks to our friends at Happy and Hale. I am headed over there tomorrow. Happy Hale is downtown. They have a pop-up in Smoky Hollow. It is going to be from, let me get the right time. It's either 11 or 12. Let me get the right time. Downtown Smoky Hollow, the Publix there. They got like a container, a shipping container that they've turned into a lunch spot for you to go downtown and enjoy. Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. until they sell out. They have 3 different bowls. Here's the catch, only $10. So take a lunch break downtown at the Happy and Hale. There's a pickleball court and a dog park out there as well.
Let's take a break. Let's take a hockey break. Brought to you by Happy and Hale. Let's take a
Yeah, hockey's about to take a playoff break. And when the playoffs do get here, we're going to be out at the Breeze Through. Come see us. It's going to be a block party. Breeze Through right there across from the Lenovo Center, Edwards Mill, and Trinity. They got all your tailgating needs, ice, drinks, hydration, snacks, you name it, they have it. Anywhere you go on these road trips, summer road trips, Breeze Through is there for you. All right, James, it's time to talk a little basketball here. More basketball, but the NBA variety. I kind of brushed it off last week when the Grizzlies fired their coach, even though they're in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I was kind of like, all right, well, it's maybe something strange happened. But what on earth is happening that the Nuggets fired their coach on the eve of the playoffs? Michael Malone. I mean, am I hallucinating? Did Michael Malone didn't he just lead them to a title
2 years ago?
2 years ago? And now here they are. They're 47-32. They are in danger of falling into the play-in round, and they've lost 4 in a row. But the Nuggets have fired their coach right here on the doorstep. 79 games, 3 games before the playoffs start. Here's a stat for you, James. With the exception of Steve Kerr, all championship-winning head coaches between 2020 and 2023 have been fired within 2 years of winning their title.
Yeah. You could throw it back to 2019 with Nick Nurse, Raptors. He got fired too.
Yeah. I mean, what is happening in the NBA? I have a theory. You have a thought of why the Nuggets are doing this?
I mean, honestly, it's just been a kind of like a grand scheme of this NBA season. I feel like a lot of ownership management has just been, I want to say the word drunk. I mean, I don't even know. Like the first Luka got traded out of the blue. I mean, it feels like Shams has gotten hacked 3 times. That's 3 times this year. I thought Shams got hacked on Twitter.
I think that's actually the answer here. I think these teams in the West, right? Grizzlies and Nuggets.
Yeah.
I think they're reacting to the Lakers.
Yeah.
Getting Luka. You know, who's in the West? I know the Oklahoma City Thunder are the betting favorite to win the NBA title right now.
Yeah.
But do you really think in a 7-game series the Thunder are going to knock out Luka Doncic and LeBron James?
No, I think the Lakers are. I think they're the best team in the West right now. And they played 2 nights ago, and the Lakers won. They played last night, and the Thunder won. Some controversy. But in the West, I mean, Denver, they've got their coaching troubles. Golden State's kind of on the come up.
Yeah, they got Jimmy.
They're kind of on the come up right now. The
Jimmy Butler.
Clippers are not doing anything.
No.
The Rockets are not doing anything. No. Right now, I would say it's between Oklahoma City, Los Angeles Lakers, Golden State Warriors. I think those are the top 3 teams. I can't see any other West team in the finals besides those 3.
The only thing I can theorize is these teams out West are making this move because they know they got caught flat-footed, right, by this deal.
Yeah.
And there was no real personnel adjustment to make.
Yeah.
So what do? You fire the coach. You try to jumpstart your team that way.
Yeah. I mean,
I can't think of another reason why they're firing this guy.
The Grizzlies fired their coach, and that was kind of, like you said, that was kind of like, okay, like the Grizzlies are in the playoffs, fine. There's like 2 weeks left in the regular season. I mean, he's like the winningest coach in franchise history.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, okay, maybe there's some internal issues. And then I guess like the 3 games before this, I just don't understand why you wouldn't ride it out for one playoff run. And if you lose in the second round, I guess you fire him. Like,
they had to have gone to Jokic and said,
oh,
we're doing this, right? And he had to have signed off on this.
They definitely had to have had to ask him. There's no way they just fired the coach without talking to the best player in the NBA.
All right, James, on your bingo card of life, did you think we would be hitting a women's basketball / WNBA topic today?
No.
Probably not, right? But I think it's an unusual case. This came across yesterday. Olivia Miles, who was the best player for Notre Dame, has signed with TCU. And again, you're going, Giglio, this happens all the time. Players go in the portal, they transfer. What is the issue? Here's the issue.
Yeah.
Miles would have been a lottery pick in the WNBA, but NIL money is such on the women's side that she finds it to be more beneficial to go play an extra year of college basketball rather than be one of the top 10 picks. I guess the lottery is different in the WNBA. Maybe they consider it the top 8.
Yeah.
In the WNBA. That's kind of wild if you think about it. I know some people have suggested like, oh, Knipple and Flagg should come back and run it back and play with the Boozer twins. And it's like,
well, they would make more money in the NBA.
Well, not only would they make more money in the NBA, you're getting to the second contract. That's the real money.
Yeah.
As Simmons was pointing out, you got to do your bid of the 5 years wherever. and then the Celtics and whoever else are going to throw a bag at you.
Yeah.
So you got to start your clock on the NBA side. This is an interesting development. It's actually good, a good thing for women's basketball.
I mean, good thing for women's, but I don't know if it's a good thing for the NBA, the WNBA. I mean, it's showing that, I mean, they're not paying their players a lot. That's what I thought Caitlin Clark, honest. That's what I remember when Caitlin Clark she had another year of eligibility.
She did, and she could have.
And they're like, oh, I don't know why she wouldn't go back. They broke it down. She would have made more money and stay in another year in college due to all her NIL endorsement. But yeah, this is definitely a weird situation. I mean, I guess if you're going to make more money and if you like the college life, you're not ready to go off to the pros. I mean, more power to you. I mean, this is definitely a weird situation, though.
We've got a lot to get to. Woo. It's a lightning round.
James, I failed you as a father because you're a New York Jets fan.
Yeah.
I don't know how that happened. I am not a Jets fan. Mysteries of life. You decide to become a Jets fan. What do you think happens with Aaron Rodgers? Because I think at this point, he's just cosplaying as Brett Favre.
Yeah, I mean, at first it sounded like he really wanted to go to the Vikings. Vikings, I guess, played it out a little bit. They thought about it, but they came back and said they didn't want anything to do with him. Right now, it seems like it's Pittsburgh Steelers or take a year off for him. I don't think
a year off.
I don't think he wants to
He
retire.
was garbage this year.
I don't think he wants to retire. I don't know what, or maybe not take a year off, but I think he wants to, wait until someone's quarterback is going to go down. Maybe
that's fair.
Like Brock Purdy or something. I mean, not wishing that happens, but maybe Brock Purdy goes down. Maybe he waits for that, just, skips all the preseason training and stuff like that. But right now, I mean, the only team I can see him signing with is the Steelers. Giants got Russell Wilson. I mean, maybe the Titans sign him, trying to mentor Cam Ward. But I think it's Steelers, or he just waits around for someone's quarterback to go down.
So the thought here is from Rodgers, and if you're not familiar with Brett Favre, was the Packers quarterback forever, led him to a Super Bowl every year, turned into this nonsense drama. Is he coming back? Is he not?
Yeah.
And in the interim, the Packers had drafted Aaron Rodgers, and we're like, we have a really good guy that we believe in. We want to transition. Favre was kind of sort of holding the franchise hostage.
Yeah.
Ends up being traded to the Jets. There was a clause in his contract that said if the Jets traded him to the Vikings, where Favre's preferred offensive coordinator was, they would have had to give up like 4 first-round picks. It was something exorbitant.
Yeah.
And so the Jets were not, I mean, the Vikings were not going to do that. Okay. So now we have, so Favre goes from the Packers to the Jets. He does the 1 year with the Jets, was okay. But then he closes his career with the Vikings. Famously, the overtime rules get changed because the year they go down to New Orleans, they had him beat. He throws a terrible interception. And then they lose in overtime without him being able to touch the ball. In overtime, his career is over. So now you have Rodgers, who at the end of his career was kind of holding the Packers hostage while they had drafted his replacement, Jordan Love. So what does he do? He ends up with the Jets and plays 4 snaps, tears his Achilles, comes back this year, was not good.
No, it wasn't good.
Period. End of story. His career is over. He refuses to accept that his career is over. The Jets finally put on their big boy pants and told him, please, sir, you do whatever you want, but you can't come here.
Yeah.
So Aaron Glenn off to a roaring start for the Jets. I will give you that. That is a super positive sign that the first thing he does is come in there and say, love you, mean it, but get the fuck out.
You're not going to be the quarterback.
Yeah, you're not you. You're not you. Okay. So then he has like this drama now with the Steelers. If he really wanted to be the Steelers quarterback, he'd be the Steelers quarterback.
I think the Steelers want him. I mean, you see.
And why wouldn't they? They have Mason Rudolph.
Yeah, I mean, unless they draft or try and trade up in the draft, but there's no quarterbacks in the draft.
They're so far down in the draft, it really doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But he clearly does not want to be a Pittsburgh Steeler. If he did, he'd already be a Pittsburgh Steeler.
Yeah.
So he's holding out to be like Favre to finish his career with the Vikings. And you're like, well, why the Vikings? Well, they have the receiver,
Justin
Jefferson. The other one, Jordan Addison.
Kevin O'Connell's a great coach.
Kevin O'Connell, noted whisperer of quarterbacks. You're indoors. You got Detroit indoors, so you could have that cushy schedule again.
Play Green Bay twice a year, and I'm sure he would love to do.
He would get to stick it to the Packers twice a year, which he'd show up for those 2 games. But here's Kevin O'Connell. Now, you'll remember the Vikings last year had Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
And he was good up until the playoffs.
Yeah.
Then he was garbage in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Then where did he sign? I don't remember.
Seattle.
Signed with the Seahawks. Okay. So they were like, fine, we got JJ McCarthy. We took him with a top 10 pick last year. He got hurt preseason. That's our quarterback. And I think Aaron and his camp have been trying to whisper to them, no, let me come in and take over that offense. In his own head being like, shit, if Sam Darnold can make you guys good, what could I do?
Yeah.
Right? Like, he's got a point now.
Yeah.
But the Vikings apparently are like, listen, so this is Kevin O'Connell. Aaron Rodgers is 4-time NFL MVP and somebody who, not just myself, but we've all had so much respect for competing against him. And he happened to be at a point in his career where he was free to have some real dialogue about what his future may look like. And we happen to be one of those teams that reached out. But I do feel very strongly about where JJ McCarthy is right now. And based on the information we have from the evaluation process, the time we had with him, I feel very good about projecting a really positive year for JJ. So it sounds like either Aaron is going to have to suck it up,
be a
Steeler, or do what you say, take some time off and wait for the first big injury.
Joe Flacco-esque.
Yeah. Wait for the first big injury and put yourself in a position to join a new team whenever, the first month.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I'm sure 49ers thinking of quarterbacks. I mean, maybe the Tua goes down. Maybe the Russ experiment fails in New York. I don't know.
Tua is probably not a bad idea given the way that his career has gone.
Yeah.
I know you've got a lot of lunch options, but let me encourage you to go hit up the Butcher's Market. They have an unbelievable steak and cheese sandwich lunch over either off of Millbrook and Six Forks, or go to the OG home base, Lake Boone Trail. So go check them out. The Butcher's Market. They have great sandwiches. They also have great catering. So maybe you want to do something for the Masters. Maybe you want to do something for your 50th birthday. Well, hit them up at thebutchersmarkets.com. And then, of course, our friend Matt Davis, you want to talk about saving money? Well, best way to save money on your insurance is to give him a call. 919-779-8277, or go to insuregarner.com. Matt can help you home, auto, pet, life, you name it. Matt can help you, so give him a call. 919-779-8277. And big shouts to the other Matt who won tickets from the Matt for the Canes Maple Leafs game on Sunday. So big shouts to all of the Matts involved there. And big shouts, of course, to Matt Davis and State Farm. Hit them up at insuregarner.com. All right, let's get out of here on some Hey Giglio, since there's two Giglios today, not two Joes. And we're going to go to the OG Sports Phone. The OG Sports Phone is brought to you by Nature's Relief. It's naturesreliefhempstore.com. Hit them up on Timber Drive. Whether you're new to relaxing and gummies and all those things, sleep help, go check them out. Nature's Relief. They've got the experts there, whether you know what you're doing or not. So check them out. Timber Drive in Garner, or naturesreliefhempstore.com. James, not only do I now know how to use the OG Sports Phone, you got to play the jingle.
919-444-2211. Call the OG Sports Phone and curse or don't.
I got a 1-star review this week because I cursed too much, James. Do you think that's true? You think I swear too much?
Not enough for a 1-star review.
I mean, Ovis is mad about it, but it's the nature of the business. Also, this is the OG Sports Phone that some people have pointed out to me. Maybe it would be okay if you cursed, if you just called the sports phone, because we say curse or don't, they take that very seriously. Let's go to the first call.
Hey, I heard a call yesterday about Final Fours and championships. Not you guys, but let me tell you this. It's not about the fucking Final Four, and it's not about the fucking championships. if there's one thing Carolina is good at, and that is pearl clutching. Baby, we pearl clutch every year. It ain't about the fucking Final Four. It ain't about a fucking championship. It's about fucking pearl clutching. Woo! Do we pearl clutch? Wow. Oh, that was probably too hard on that one. All right. See ya.
This was a call because Carolina fans are in their feelings right now. The program's not going well.
Mm-hmm.
The direction of the program is troublesome, and Duke has surpassed them. Now, their retort to that is, well, we're still the last area team to win a championship, which they did in 2017, but they do, as the original caller pointed out, now have the longest Final Four drought
between
the triangle because Duke this year, State last year, you're going to go all the way back to 2022 for the last of North Carolina's trips to the Final Four. So yeah, that was hard in the paint there. I appreciate that. Now, this is a callback from yesterday's episode. This goes back to Jay Billis to set this up. Jay Billis said that the ACC failed Duke because they weren't prepared to play in close games because the ACC was so bad this year.
Yeah.
As if it was Kyle Smith's fault at Stanford that John Shire doesn't know how to run an out-of-bounds play.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. I had brought up an anecdote from Larry Johnson because Jay Billis said, this is just like UNLV in 1991. They lost to Duke because they hadn't been tested all year. To which I had to bring up one of my favorite things, which was Larry Johnson talking about all of these years later saying, nah, the reason we lost to Duke is because we didn't take them seriously and I didn't play hard enough. I didn't play well enough. So here's the call responding to my point about Larry Johnson.
Joe, what's up? Just listening to today's call talking about reasons why teams didn't finish in the Final Four. And Joe brought up Larry Johnson being on a podcast 35 years later saying that, oh, we didn't respect him. I didn't know I had to play that hard. Perhaps, taking the power away from Duke doing the things that they needed to do. I wasn't really trying that hard. Oh, that's why they beat us. Or if they just beat you. In regards to this year's Final Four, sometimes you can play hard games in practice and be in those moments and you just make the wrong mistake. It happens. I think we try to overanalyze why everything happens. Oh, you played harder games. You were in tougher situations. You know what? Sometimes you just get to the moment and you mess up. That's why it happened to Houston. That's why it happened to Duke. It just happens sometimes. We overanalyze the game far too much. And sometimes it's just the small nuances of the game that win or lose. Thanks, guys. Great show.
So now I do agree with that last point. But sometimes, you make a point and it feels like a game of telephone. So what I did was I went back and I found the clip from Larry Johnson talking about that game because it did bother me that Billis was like, oh, yeah, this is the real reason that UNLV lost back in 1991.
Final Four, y'all started 34-0 before losing to Duke. Yeah. Grant Hill, Bobby Hurley, Christian Laettner. I say this all the time. I lost the game. Now I say this to Greg, and he go bullshit, and Ice and everybody go bullshit. No, we did this, we did that. But being the number one player in college that year, everyone here, all the smoke, I lost the game. I didn't play hard. I was out there lallygagging on 70-80%, thinking we playing somebody we just beat by 30 the year before. But it was close the whole game, and it wasn't with me. We up 4, we up 5, then they're tied up. We go on that little run again. But I was lollygagging. I was thinking about the league. Yeah, man. I said this before. I'm not snitching on them. I said this before. I always say I lost that game. And at the end, should I shot the ball? Absolutely. I should have shot the ball. I choked.
I never heard that.
I should have shot the ball. I choked.
See, sometimes you just got to go back to the source.
Yeah.
That's all. I understand what the caller was saying, and I appreciate what he was saying. Yeah, I mean, we do overanalyze this stuff, right? We always like to try to make these sweeping conclusions, too, over what we just saw, right? I mean, it's kind of how the business works. But that one did bother me that Billis was like, oh, yeah, here's the real reason that UNLV lost. It's the same. Here's the real reason Duke lost this year. It's the same reason that UNLV lost in 1991. It's like, no. And even this year, you shouldn't even say Duke lost because the ACC didn't prepare them. No, Tyrese Proctor needs to make a free throw.
Yeah.
John needs to do a better job managing the team and out of bounds situations at the end of the game. The play with 3 seconds left was awful.
3 seconds is a lot of time in college basketball.
There was an eternity on the clock for that last 3.7, and they don't even come close to a look. So these are all things that are reasons why Duke lost. The ACC, not a reason why Duke lost. And conversely, back to 91 and 90 and 91, obviously before your time, UNLV was the definition of a war machine in 90 and beat Duke they ran Duke out of Denver in the Final Four. Bobby Hurley had diarrhea. Okay. And he was running on and off the floor, and they were blasting them. Okay. So to Larry Johnson, then they go on the next night, they win the championship. They come back the next year, they're unbeaten. That's Stacey Augmon, Greg Anthony, Larry Johnson. They were a war machine. They get to the Final Four. They see Duke. They see Bobby Hurley. They think he's going to have shit running down his leg again.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? Bobby Hurley was really good in that game.
They were prepared.
Guess what? They were ready to play. And guess what? Also, what Duke had? Grant Hill.
Yeah.
A little bit of a change there. A little bit of a change. So I just wanted to give that one a little bit of a callback. So Ovis is out again tomorrow. You're back. You actually have class tomorrow.
Yes. All long day tomorrow.
Tuesdays and Thursdays. You got those classes, man.
It's Tuesdays and Thursdays are hell days.
Now, did you do all this on purpose? Having that Monday, Wednesday, Friday life?
I told you. Remember, I had my whole schedule mishap. Remember?
Oh, that was right. Your schedule was supposed to be the day you had your back surgery.
Yeah, and I got it all. It all got mixed up, and then
okay.
Yeah. So
you basically got dealt a bunch of classes on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
I got a pretty bad hand, and then I got a class Monday, Wednesday, Friday that I had, but I
dropped it.
I had to drop
it's fine. It happens.
But so I got a bad hand, and it has led to a struggling. My grades aren't bad, but I feel I have a lot of work all the time.
Okay.
Because the Tuesday.
So next semester won't be.
No, I've spaced it out more because I actually put the schedule out this time.
You did.
Yes.
All right. Excellent. People could follow your work at Hoist the Colours 247 Sports. Big thanks to Stephen Igo for lending you to me for today's program. Chip Patterson will be in from CBS Sports tomorrow. We will be live 2:00 tomorrow. And coming up a little bit later today, by popular demand, Josh Goodson and Bennett Johnson will be here for our Masters picks. You got a pick for the Masters? You got any thoughts?
Xander Schauffele.
Schauffele.
Yeah.
Won 2 majors last year, but has been slow out of the gate this year.
I like him.
All right.
Favorite golfer.
Taking the Cali kid. I like it. James, thank you so much for your help. Your mother will be very happy. And when I get home, I'm sure I'll be seeing this episode playing on the living room television. Safe travels back to Greenville. We'll see you guys tomorrow right here on the OG for a Butcher's Market OG Live. 2:00 tomorrow, your normal stations right here on the YouTubes.